Welcome to By Any Ink Necessary, where we'll discuss how different writing formats are essential for success. For the next 13 weeks, we'll interview people from various walks of life, and they'll share their writing success story. We all know that reading is fundamental. We've been taught that in school. But here we're going to discuss how writing is essential for any type of success. First, I want to honor the creator for this opportunity. I'm your host, Judine Slaughter, the Executive Director of the United Black Writers Association, Inc. I started this nonprofit to promote independent authors. For 5 years, we met monthly at the Caribou bookstore, where authors got together and shared the steps necessary for publishing a book. And we also had three Afrocentric book expos, where 20 to 40 authors displayed their books and for people to purchase at the mall at Prince George's. The Caribou bookstore closed in 2008. And since then, many large and small bookstores have closed. Since I had self-published a book in 2002, I kept the United Black Writers Association alive by every year I present a workshop called Book Your Success, which shows how easy it is to become an author. And many people ask me, Judine, are you still writing? My mantra is anybody who puts a pen to paper is a writer. So most of us are writing every day, whether by email, Facebook, Twitter, any type of social media. And that's what gave me the idea to have this radio program, By Any Ink Necessary, to promote people who use writing for success, not necessarily as an author. My first guest is Alqamar Malik. She is a positive ray of light, and I met her through a meetup group several years ago. And then I started coming to Everlasting Life. They have a free movie every Friday. And Alqamar is here. She has her own business, Malik's Fashions. And I initially asked Alqamar to come on the show because I wanted her to talk about how writing was success for Malik's Fashions. And Alqamar came in today and said, okay, I brought my book, A Tangled Web. And I said, well, Alqamar, I didn't even know you were an author. But it's all good because she said her first passion is writing, and that's what we're about, because Alqamar knows firsthand how writing is essential for success. So Alqamar, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, first off, thank you so much, Judine, for having me on your program, your very first program of many, so I feel kind of special. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And your question, I'm sorry, to me was...
Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, a little bit about me. Well, as you see, I am an author. That's my new baby. About a year and a half in, I finished her completely.
Okay.
I am what you would call the consummate entrepreneur. So my motto is anything that doesn't entail punching a time clock, you can probably count me in. So I do have my own jewelry business.
Yes.
I also write. I blog a lot as well. Here at Everlasting Life, I'm one of the events coordinators. That's another love of mine. So I host different events around town. And I do other things. I have other what's the word I'm looking for? Other things, activities and things as well
Business
that I do.
ventures.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
right. I'm just like all over the place.
Alqamar also, she's being very modest. She also has a radio program on Wednesdays at
forgot
noon.
about that.
So she came in and she says, well, I'm used to asking the questions. I'm not used to people asking the questions. So this is all new to all of us. So just please bear with us. You'll understand the content of the program is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. I find myself a little nervous on this side of the table. It's interesting.
And so you can find her program on ELife Media Group on Facebook at noon, live streaming, but they also
2 to 3. 2 to 3. It's called the Empower Hour.
The Power Hour.
Empower Hour.
Empower Hour. Okay, I apologize.
That's
from 2 to 3. And so I was here for one of the Fridays, the free movie Fridays, and Alqamar said, okay, we're going to allow people to rent the studio. And I heard it first and I said, okay, well. And then she said it again. And I said, okay, well, just like Alqamar said that she likes different activities, business ventures. I said, okay, well, this is something different. I also will have a radio program. So, that's why I've asked Alqamar, and it just so happened that she's an author, so I'm just doubly pleased that she's here. So, Alqamar, what was an early experience where you learned that language had power?
Oh, wow. I guess I would have to credit my father for helping me to understand the power of language. He used to always, he had many quotes, but there was one he would share all the time that stuck. And he would say, you must learn the language well or you will not have success. You must learn the language well or you will not have success. And he hammered that into his children while we were growing up. And so that was my first introduction to how powerful the written word and language in general is.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Now, another question is, since you're talking about your father, Jeff Bezos from Amazon said that unconditional love creates risk. So do you feel as if your father gave you unconditional love, which helped you take a risk? Because really it's a risk being an independent business owner, not having a 9-to-5. So do you think your father?
That is a very interesting question. And I credit my father for a lot of things. He's like, was my rock. He's no longer with us, but he instilled so much wisdom, in me, and he did have unconditional love. And he used to say things. I would watch his lifestyle, although he did have jobs, here and there and things. But for the most part, he lived a life of entrepreneurship as well.
Okay.
And he used to he would say unconditional things that I didn't hear other people's parents saying to them. Like, we hear to go to school, get a good job, and but my father would say, well, hell with a job. You can get a job anywhere. If you lose one job, just get another. So he would brush those type of things off like it wasn't such a big deal. And so with his attitude towards jobs, it kind of, piggybacked and I kind of picked up on that.
For you.
Right. So it wasn't such a fear factor around if I lost the job, oh God, what will I do?
Right.
Because my father always told me, you just get another one, or you do something other. So I think that whole unconditional love piece does play a part.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what formats have you found success with marketing your products or services?
Oh, wow. Well, social media, no doubt, as far as format is concerned.
And tell us, where can we find you, Alqamar?
Well, I'm on all the major social media sites under my name, which is Alqamar Malik, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram mainly. I'm also, I have a website for my jewelry, which is Malik's Fashions. My book you can find on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
So again, if you Google my name, you can pretty much get the gist of where I am on the
that is wonderful, Alqamar.
social media outlets.
What kind of research do you do, and how long do you spend researching before you started this book?
I'm always researching. Always, because I'm a blogger and I use Facebook mainly for blogging different content, and so I'm always researching different things before I choose to discuss them. For this book in particular, it was as I went type scenario. I'm not the typical author. I went 9 years in school, so I never completed the 9th grade. So, I went back, I got my GED, I put myself in, community college and all of that. But my formal years, so I didn't get all the writing content I would imagine that most authors do. So it was more a book of passion for me than the outlines and the ABCs of writing a book. And so when I sat down to write the book, I sat down with a clear mind and I just started to write. And so when I got to certain places in the book where I knew I needed to research, that's what I did. I paused and I took the time to research what I needed to and brought that information back into the book at that moment. So that's how it went for me.
Well, Alqamar, thank you so much for sharing that story, because I do believe it's controversy or conflict that really helps people to move forward. And so you shared that you just went to the 9th grade, but you persisted. And I'm sure you had to maybe perfect your writing. You just sat down with a clear mind and started writing out. Did you write it on, or did you use the computer? Did you type it out?
Yeah.
You typed it out? That's wonderful, Alqamar. That story is very inspirational, I'm sure, to our audience. So why would you see writing as essential for success?
Again, just reverting back to my father's words, I think that the more we read, the more we tend to understand the world around us in a myriad of different ways. The more words we use, the more clearer our voices become, because we can articulate ourselves better than someone who may not have a lot of words to choose from.
Exactly.
And that alone can open doors.
Exactly.
And so, so I think the written word, not to mention, a lot of the, I call them books of the old, ancient books of old, the Bibles, the Torahs, the Holy Qurans, and, all those books they're books.
Exactly.
They're books. So
Exactly.
Some of the most important aspects of life itself can be found in books. So, yeah.
Exactly. And so, with all this writing going on in your life, how do you take time for yourself?
Ooh. Well, I started on a new tradition just this year, actually, where I take the whole month of January off completely, but I do that to write.
Okay.
So it's not I guess you wouldn't consider it taking time completely for myself. I'm not like laying out on the beach on vacation the whole 30 days, but I do take that downtime to, and a lot of that time is used for writing. But I enjoy writing, so it's pleasurable for me. So
it doesn't. You don't really have to think about it, and it's not hard for the words to come to you.
Right.
Well,
most times.
Yeah.
Now, that writer's block thing is real.
Okay.
So that's a real thing.
Okay.
So sometimes you do get stuck, but even that, even when writing a book, if I'm not writing a book, I'm blogging or I'm doing some type of form of writing. So
are you working on your next book?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it going to be, now this book, A Tangled Web, is fiction?
That's fiction.
And so your next book?
No, that my next book is going to be a self-help book.
Okay.
Along those lines.
All right.
It's just short stories, written in a self-help format. So it'll be entertaining as well as helpful.
Wonderful. So, does a big ego help or hurt?
Ooh, I want to take the middle road with that question, because that's a question I've asked before of other people, and I used to think that it would hurt, but then I look at other successful people like Donald Trump in his own right, and other people who with overinflated egos who are successful. So I don't know if I could actually conclude that a big ego, is a road to failure. So I'm not sure.
I guess
It's a
it
good
just
question.
depends on the person, what they've done with their success.
Right.
Yeah. So most of us have seen the Black Panther movie. And they mentioned in Wakanda, the vibranium. So what is your vibranium?
What keeps me going?
Yes, what's your energy?
The love of the people. In both ways. I just love people, and Black people in particular, and my passion for wanting to see us in a better position fuels me, and who we are, to this world, and the gifts that we've been endowed, and how we choose to use them. I just think everything about us as people is dynamic, and it's fascinating.
It is.
We're really a fascinating group of people.
It is.
And so,
it is true.
Yeah, and so that fuels me. Just seeing us and watching us, and even our struggles,
Even our struggles.
is is something that I'm drawn to. Yeah.
Okay. If you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. I look back at days past and remember how I used to stress over little things that now I realize didn't matter at all. So I think the bigger picture is just going on with your life despite the challenges and the struggles, and because they're going to be there from the cradle to the grave. We were born in struggle, and so I think just understanding that, and understanding the ebbs and flows of life, and knowing that they're going to come, whether you like it or not, and so to take it in stride is helpful to your peace of mind, your state of mind, your emotion base and all that. So I would say, don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Exactly. So when you apply that to your writing, do you write and then let's say, write a chapter, then go back and edit, or do you just, like you said, just go ahead and write it out?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find someone else? Did you find someone else to edit your book? How
Yeah.
did you do that?
For this book was an interesting journey. So I did a little bit of both. So it took me about 5 years to actually, from beginning to completion, because it was my first. It's my first book, and I wanted it to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did find myself, going back. I think I wrote this book about 9 times.
Oh, dear.
I really did. And yes, I did have an editor, and when I was finally finished and breathed, and I'd had an edit, someone professionally edit the book for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did a little bit of both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds good. That's what
I did a lot of learning. It was a learning curve too, so I'll know better moving forward.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Any new business adventure
Mm-hmm.
is usually a learning curve.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
So, what does success look like for you?
Freedom, in whatever facet that entails. For me, it doesn't equate to money. There's a lot of successful people in life that I know personally that don't have a lot of money in the bank. So I just think the freedom to be able to live your dreams and your passions and provide your gifts to the world freely, without harming any other individuals, I think is success.
And I would agree. I would agree with that. I think providing your gifts is crucial, because so many of us have gifts on the inside.
Everyone.
Everyone has a gift. But we don't always show our gifts or provide our gifts. And for me, writing is a way, whether it be nonfiction or fiction, writing is a way to share your gift.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
No matter what it is, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, writing is the way to share whatever gift it is that you have with others.
I agree.
Okay, Alqamar, I'll ask you 2 more questions. How long did you ever work for anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Before you became a full-time business owner?
Yeah, but I always, in the midst of that, I always did my own thing as well. So, for years I was a bookkeeper for Shoppers Food Warehouse.
Oh.
So I started off as a cashier, and a few years of that, the manager came to me and asked me, did I want to come to the office and bookkeep? And I'm like, okay, sure. So I did that for some years as well. From there, I went into real estate. So I was a realtor for 10 years of my life. But like I say, in the midst of all that, so I sold Mary Kay, or I did other odd and end things. So even when I was a little girl, I think I was about 10, 11 years old, I was the candy lady for the community.
Really?
Yeah, and it's going back to my father again about the freedom and the unconditional love.
Yes.
Because when I went to him with the idea, he took me to the candy place where you get all the bulk candy, and he put me in business for myself. So it didn't last long, because I wanted to hang out. I realized that I couldn't hang out with my friends because I had to man the shop.
Right.
And so it was one or the other.
Right.
So at 10 years old, I'm like, oh, okay. So in order to do this, I have to be stationary.
Right.
So, but nevertheless, so yes, I did work for other people.
Okay. And do you feel as if all of those experiences built you to who you are today?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Even the rough times, and there were some rough times. I tell people, I used to be ashamed to tell people that I dropped out in the 9th grade.
Yes.
Well, removed myself. I don't even like to use the words dropped out. I removed myself from school in the 9th grade, and for years I was ashamed to tell people that, you know. And but when I look back and I think back to those times in my life, I realize how I was being shaped and molded even then, you know, for something better than that. You know, so yeah, I'm grateful for every facet of my life, even the challenging times.
Well, Alqamar, I'm grateful for you. I really appreciate the fact that when I asked you to be on the program, you said there was no question in your mind. You said that you would come.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, Alqamar, Malik, thank you again for being on the program. And we're going to take a brief intermission and bring on our next guest.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So this is by Any Ink Neccesary. We just spoke with Alqamar Malik, and she's the owner of Malik's Fashions, but she is also the author of A Tangled Web. And here, this program, for those of you who might have tuned in late, by Any Ink Neccesary is a program where we discuss how different writing formats are essential to success. So our next guest is Miss Asia Douglas, another ray of positive energy. And Asia Douglas, her shop is Tangled Roots Hair Salon, Hair Studio, and she's my stylist. And I just want to say that whenever I go to Asia, and one particular time I get the 2-strand twist, she was fixing me up, and I said, Asia, are you giving me a mohawk? She says, no, I'm giving you an updo. And I said, oh, okay. And to be honest, Asia doesn't know this. A lot of times I walk out of there and I say, you know what, I do not like this hairstyle. But I will go to the mall within 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. Someone is stopping me and saying, I love your hairstyle. Where did you get that style? And I try to share her telephone number whenever I can. But every single time I get my hair done, before the end of the day, someone is stopping me and asking me where I got my hair done. And I'm going to share a story. She told me she was out with a friend. Was it a friend or your sister? And they were in a restaurant, and they saw someone whose hair was done. So it must have been a friend, your sister with a friend.
Oh yeah, it was a client.
It was a client. And so the client asked the lady, where did you get your hair done? And so she said, oh, Asia Douglas. So both of them, not only did the client like her style, but she liked the style that she saw on somebody she didn't even know was Asia's client. And to me, that speaks volume of the care that she puts into her clients, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, Asia, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I am a natural hairstylist based in Lanham. I currently make my own hair products. I market myself. I also do trainings for natural hair outside of the shop and in the shop.
Okay, I didn't even know that. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
So, do you have to prepare PowerPoint presentations?
I do. Sometimes I put together either slides pictures that I've done myself, or that I find online that are representative of what in particular I am trying to portray.
And so I've been going to Asia. Asia's been my hairstylist for about 2 years. And from the very beginning, I said, Asia, for my being the United Black Writers Association, promoting that, I said, Asia, I want to do something. I've got to promote you. So when this opportunity, the radio program came up, I said, Asia, I need you to be on the program. And Asia passed me your book.
Oh, yes.
Because she also has a book, Naturally Asia. And even just the name of her shop, Tangled Roots. For me, she took something that for black women in the past might have been a negative.
Mm-hmm.
But she took that and said, no, this is a positive.
Oh, yeah.
Tangled Roots is a good thing. And when you go into her shop, it's just a good vibe altogether.
Okay.
But when I first went to see Asia, and I said, oh, you've written a book. She was like, no, not really. I said, yes, there it is. You know, she has it on display. And this is what happens to a lot of authors, that they, especially Asia's is a book of hairstyles. So I believe that's why she was really not thinking that she wrote a book. But I appreciate this because how many books does it take to make an author?
One.
Just one. And although it doesn't have words, it does tell a story.
Okay.
And that's what I like. She used her, we've got some words here, but she used her creativity. She has probably seen the hair magazines. And so she said, you know what, I can do something like that myself. That's what I love about Asia. Her creativity is very good. I want to say off the chain.
Thank you. I appreciate
We'll
that.
let it
Yes. Okay.
So let's talk about your products.
Oh, sure.
And this is another thing that I like about Asia, because she does all of her products herself,
Yes, ma'am.
but she had to write the blurbs on all of the products. So I think the first thing that I bought was the rejuvenating serum. And I was looking at it and reading it, and I was like, this could be at the CVS. And I asked Asia, you know, the next time I went, did you do this yourself? She says, yeah. And her marketing is phenomenal. But not only marketing the products. So I've used the rejuvenating serum, the hydrating finishing mist.
Yes, ma'am.
She has here the coil lock and hold butter. I don't have locks, so haven't used this one.
You don't need that.
But I have used the moisture souffle. Now this winter, it's such a good creamy product. I called her and I said, well, Asia, I'm going to start using this on my skin because I get really dry skin in the wintertime. And this product she marketed it for your hair, but it's you can use this, a full body moisture souffle.
Yes.
I can testify myself that's how good the moisture souffle is.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Asia, what was an early experience where you learned that language had power?
I'd say growing up in the household and with my family, they were very into the Quran and reading, and one of the quotes is, Iqra, you have to read, and reading is important. And I don't think then as you're young, you don't really grasp what you do it because they said do it. But as I grew up, you realize that in reading, you get enlightenment, you learn through other people's experiences, and oftentimes a lot of things are hidden from us in books. And so you have to read to get that knowledge. Otherwise, it's hearsay, or, and that's not foolproof. If it's written, those words don't change.
Exactly.
You read it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to piggyback on what you were saying, when we're reading, someone else is sharing their experience with us.
Yes.
But when you're writing, you are sharing your experience
Yes.
with others.
Yes.
So that's what I really like about writing, any type of writing, whether it be Facebook or, some people have long posts,
Yes.
but they're getting out what they want.
They're expressing themselves.
They're
yes.
expressing themselves to the world.
Yes.
And it's so funny because just last night I went out with a meetup group, lovely ladies, and the one lady said, I've always wanted to write a book, but I don't know what to write a book about. I said, well, depending on what kind of Facebook writer you are, some people could take those Facebook posts and put them together and make a book.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you've got paragraphs out here.
They got paragraphs.
Uh-huh.
But that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Because they're sharing their experience with the world.
Yeah.
So, what kind of research did you do for your book and for your products?
For the book, it requires just building a portfolio. So I have to take pictures, and that can take months, if not years, depending on what styles I want to have in this book and what I want to the direction of it to go in. So depending on that, if it's a kid's book, I'll do kid styles. If it's a, updos or wedding style book, then that's what we'll focus on. But trying to get those categories or sections, because people like organization and they want to know, okay, if I go to a buns page, it's all buns. If I go to mohawks, it's mohawks. So I try to offer that variety. And so that's with the book. Just building up the portfolio, building up the photos, so I have enough for a book. One isn't good enough. And then for the products, I did a lot of personal research online and in stores. I walked around to the beauty supply stores and the CVS, like you said, and Wegmans, and looked at their products and how they were marketed and how I like to see products and how I like to read products. And it's clearly marked, it's visible, I can see the writing, they have colors and bolded fonts, and when you are looking at those things, it kind of helps me to incorporate that into my products. So that's what I did here. Also, just from experience and from what I do when I use the products. So that's where a lot of the instructions came from, using it on your scalp or hair versus wet or dry, and when to use these products in particular.
Well, Asia, you did a lot of good research.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you did a lot of good research. So, how long did you work for someone else before you came full time?
As far as hair, I worked in a shop in my family salon for Fabulox for about 5-6 years. And after that, I decided to branch out. I felt like it was time to spread my wings, and that's what we did. Before that, I did work at restaurants, McDonald's, as a cashier, making fries, Party City as a cashier and putting up, products, and Subway.
Okay.
So a lot of customer service oriented, and I think that kind of works into me now because you go through maybe not so pleasant experiences in these restaurants or just in life, and you know, you want to go through a good experience, especially when you're paying your money. You're spending your time to come see me and for me to do your hair. You want to enjoy yourself. So I try to apply that knowledge to what I do now.
Well, I can testify you do that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So, who are your favorite authors and how did they influence your success?
I love Maya Angelou. She's beautiful. She's a activist, a singer, a writer herself, a poet, and just to see her, and even in her poem "Still I Rise," you know, she's even through the obstacles and the physical or whatever, you know, obstacles we all face, you can still rise and overcome. And I think, like going back to your point about reading and how important that was, viewing her experience, you know, helps you or me in particular, just to say that she had been through all of this, and she became, I mean, she was always this beautiful person, but to see the end result of her life and where she ended and how the peak of her career, and I mean, it continues. She's got legacy, you know. Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that you started out, when you started talking about Maya Angelou, you didn't focus necessarily on her writing. You said she's an activist, and you talked about the other things. And that shows how writers, everyone has to be well-rounded.
Oh, yes.
Not just a writer and that's what I do.
Yeah.
And that's what Maya Angelou was for you.
Okay.
She was not just a writer. You liked the things that she was doing outside of her writing world.
Yes.
Which made her what she is, which she put into her books.
Great.
So that, yes. So that's good for any aspiring author or someone who's marketing.
Yes.
That you have to remember, people are not just looking at you for the job that you have, whether you work for someone or not. They are looking at you to what you do outside of the job.
Yeah. How can you be an asset, and what experiences
can you be an asset?
Can you bring to?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, Asia, I know that we've talked about this a little bit when I come to the shop, but how do you take time for yourself?
I have to schedule it. I mean, unless things, you know, sometimes things just happen that you have no control of, sicknesses, illnesses, and things like that. But if I can help it, I plan to schedule it. And it's to help, you know, with work-life balance. And the way my book, the way my workload is and works, it's hard for me to take things off tomorrow, next week. So I do have to plan months in advance. If I have a vacation, it'll be 2 months from now, you know, and I'll possibly have to move 1 or 2 clients around. But sometimes you have to make sacrifices to take time for yourself. And when you're always giving, you have to give back to yourself at some point. But I have to plan it. I have to schedule it, or else it won't happen.
And I like how you said that you have to do that.
Yes.
Because Asia is always putting herself into others, her creativity into her clients. So she has to schedule that time away.
I do.
And that's great. And she's told me about her vacations and what she's
traveling.
done. She loves to travel, but that's okay. Do you think a big ego helps or hurts?
I think too much of anything is bad. So a big ego necessarily isn't I think it's off-putting, especially when you're in a customer service field and I have to deal directly one-on-one with people, and me talking about me and boasting about me all the time isn't the best conversation. And in customer service, I have to put that down and listen, so it's putting that ego away. But when people ask you about experiences or your personal certifications, knowledge, and things like that, it's not bad to boast about yourself and toot your horn a little bit and let them know that I do have the knowledge, I do have the base for what you're entailing or asking.
I like that. There's a time and a place.
It is, yes.
And just like when I initially asked Asia, I didn't ask her, I text messaged her if she would like to be on the program, and she didn't text message me back. So I called her. I said, Asia, did you get the text message?
I did.
She said she did. But I like the fact that she said, okay. So she was humble enough to say, yeah, I'll do it. But she had to bring her ego up to say, okay, yeah, I deserve this. This is something that I deserve to be on this radio program. So there's a time and a place.
Oh, definitely.
So you've seen the movie Black Panther.
I have.
And in Wakanda, there's the vibranium. What is your vibranium?
I love energy. I love creativity, and I love being curious. I've always liked to touch, to feel, to see how things work and how you do that. So if I'm looking online at pictures, or I'm always looking at hair pictures, because it's always a forward-moving industry. There's always a new trend. There's a new way to do Bantu knots, So I have to keep up on it, and I'm looking on YouTube. I'm looking at Instagram or Pinterest, and some things aren't explained thoroughly. So I do like to pick apart things and kind of dissect it and figure out how that's done. So I think that helps push me. I also think when I hear other people's journeys and what other people's experiences are, that also helps push you to want to move to the next step. I'm always forward thinking, maybe too much, but what's next? What's after this? What's after that? And then what's after that? And when you hear other people's stories, or just how they're progressing in life, it makes me want to do the same. And it's forward stepping.
Exactly. And I will bring up how you were working for Fabulous.
I was.
But then the new thing now is the Phoenix Salons.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Where it allows a person to have their own shop.
Yes, ma'am.
In a building with many other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something new. And you decided, well, let me try this. Because in any business venture, it's a risk.
Yeah, you have to take that leap.
You have to take that leap.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how you decided, and she has, again, her shop is very welcoming.
Oh, thank you.
When you come in, very welcoming. And she's always, the other stylists are, whenever I'm there, are coming by just to say hi, just tapping on the door and waving, because she has that positive energy. So, Asia, why would you see writing as essential for success?
I believe writing is essential because you have to present yourself well. And oftentimes people meet me through Instagram or through my website, and this is my first introduction. And if I'm not eloquent, if I'm not well spoken, or if it doesn't read that well on paper, you might not want to come see me. I might not have it be as professional or, as expected. So I like to have those T's crossed and I's dotted, and just make sure things look a professional in a professional manner and presentable to where it's legible and people can understand and it gets the clear point across. But it's my first way of meeting many of my clients, and so it has to represent me well as my products. Some people haven't seen me, but they use my product. Exactly. And I'll have people come in from other people's suites to buy the product, and they've never met me. But then they have friends who then come in and they're like, well, my friend has this product and I liked it, so I wanted this product, and then they come in. So it expands, it's kind of like a nervous system, or yes, spreading roots,
yes.
And how it
Asia
reaches.
Is definitely spreading her roots. And I've been in the shop where someone just came in and that's all they wanted.
Yep, with some product.
Was the product. Yes.
Okay, Asia, I'm going to ask you 2 more questions.
Sure.
Let's see. I haven't asked. Well, you've already talked about what kind of formats you found successful, but you can elaborate the formats that you use.
Currently,
yes.
I am on...
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tangled Roots. If you search Tangled Roots, I'm on there, as well as my website at www.mytangledroots.com. You can also find me on Vagaro, which is my scheduling engine, and if you'd like to make an appointment, on vagaro.com, and that also has a link then to my website, to Facebook, and to Instagram, and they're all linked together. So if you do go to my webpage, you can then access the Facebook, Instagram, and scheduling all from there.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the website, because I was in Asia's shop and I was telling her how I was building a website for someone.
Yes.
And she says, well, I need a website. What host did you use? So I shared it with her. It was eHost. By the next time I visited Asia, she had her website up. And I mentioned this, I am a very visual person. And the way, like she was saying, she went for her products, she went to the hair supply store, she went to the CVS to see how other people were doing it. And when I went to her website, you would think that Asia had been a webmaster for years. Because I told her the way she has her words presented on that web page, people skim, but it's like she just naturally knew, where to place the pictures and everything. Her website again, and honestly, I have developed websites, and so I'm very, very picky about, when I go to a website, can I get what I want done? That's my main objective.
That's the goal, yeah.
That is the goal. And when I went to Asia's website, everything was right in place. I didn't have to ask any questions in my mind. I found everything that I needed right up front. And that is key.
Yeah.
Because she was saying how in Instagram that it's easy to lose a customer depending on how you present yourself. But that's for websites also. For example, I went to a website today, I won't mention, but they were selling natural brownies. I wanted to know what were the ingredients of these natural brownies.
Yeah.
They said you couldn't pronounce all of them, but I said, well, what are the ingredients? And I had to flip through different pages to find out, and I felt like they were trying to hide something.
Oh, yeah.
But then I finally got it together, and I found the ingredients, and I said, this is, regular ingredients. I could make these brownies at home. After all of that.
Nothing.
But, right. But I just mentioned that because that first initial presence is what really
Pulls you in.
Pulls the person
Yeah.
in.
Is the
draws them
information here?
in.
Is it available? And is it what I need?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, so one more question. What are the common traps for aspiring authors, owners?
Owners, I'd say that it's always progressive. It's always forward moving, and you have to move with. I think as being an African American, and some businesses that we start up, we don't keep moving forward. We start up and that's it. I did it. It's here. You come or not. And I don't want to be that. We want to be forward moving, forward progressing, change up the paint, change up the scenery, keep up with the trends, and keep up to date, and that will profit, and in turn you'll see a change, and people wonder, what is she doing and how can I do that? So that's where I'm going with that.
And I really appreciate Asia, because that's how she keeps me. She keeps me forward in my hairstyles.
Okay.
And I really appreciate that about her. So thank you, Asia.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate your coming on our first show.
Oh no. I'm
And
so
sharing our experience together, and sharing what you do and how writing is essential for your success.
excited. Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's a joy being here.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, again, this is the, this is the By Any Ink Necessary program. And for the next 13 weeks, we will be on ELife Media Group. We're in the ELife Media Group radio station. And we'll be here every Sunday from 4 to 5, talking with people from various walks of life and how writing is essential for their success. Today we had Alqamar Malik, the owner of Malik's Fashion, and Asia Douglas, the owner of Tangled Roots Hair Studio. Please contact them. I've had excellent success with both of these ladies, and return again next Sunday to learn from other entrepreneurs and how they have made writing essential for their success. I want to thank everyone for watching the program, and I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to the other entrepreneurs, authors that we're going to have on the program, so that you can learn from them. And I hope that you have taken away golden nuggets of information from these two rays of light that we had on today and in our future programming. That's about it. I'm going to end with a quote. Well, anyway, writing is essential for success. Thank you.